Michael Popok, big news out of New York's Appellate Division again in the Manhattan District Attorney criminal case. We reported yesterday how the Appellate Division denied Donald Trump's attempt to stay the criminal trial. Donald Trump was attempting to that on grounds of challenging the venue. Now an appellate judge has just denied another attempt by Donald Trump to request to delay the start of the criminal trial, which is set to begin jury selection on April 15th, so that Donald Trump can challenge the gag order imposed by Justice Merchan. A full appeals court panel is still going to consider Trump's petition on April 15th, though it won't delay the start of trial. Zachary Cohen from CNN's reporting that New York Associate Justice Cynthia Kern denied the application for an interim stay just minutes after hearing arguments on the matter earlier today. Here is a copy of that order that was just issued moments ago from Justice Cynthia Kern. You'll see right here, it says, the application for an interim stay of the proceedings pending resolution of the Article 78 proceeding is denied without prejudice to any determination by the full bench. Before turning it over to you, Michael Popok, Eric Ublacker was in the court, a reporter. Here's how he described it. I was just at the hearing. Here's what went down. Trump wants to delay trial so he can argue against Justice Merchan's gag order. Trump is citing three reasons. One, Trump wants to respond to Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels' social media posts about him. Two, he wants to comment on the recusal motion against Justice Merchan, specifically about his daughter. Three, he wants to be able to claim that the charges are politically motivated. Prosecutor Stephen Wu, like yesterday, chided Trump's attorney for the timing of all of this. Quote, they have delayed bringing this request for 2 full weeks after the order was brought by the judge. He brings up Justice Engoron's law clerk and Fulton County election worker in his arguments. Quote, there has already been difficulty in finding witnesses in our case, Wu says. It has been a challenge getting people to come in because they know what their names in the press may lead to, referring to Donald Trump's threats against witnesses. And then the order was handed down by Justice Kern. Here's a note that Ublacker makes. I think it's one that's important. This is an interim stay application. A full panel of the appellate judges will decide on this on April 15th, but that's the morning of jury selection. So in other words, jury selection and trial is not being delayed, but the panel will be addressing just this gag order issue, which doesn't seem that it will be delaying trial. So Popok, I think the headline here is we're going to trial. This was Donald Trump's last effort under Article 78. What do you make of this all?
Yeah, I agree. Let me give it to you from a New York lawyer perspective, and as I'm a member of the Appellate Division, First Department, I've appeared in front of these judges. Let me give a little procedural background, the type of hearing that just happened, and tell you why Donald Trump's arguments were never going to work to stay his case. It all should have been brought before Judge Merchan, the trial judge level, and not being asked the emergency duty judge who just happened to be on duty today, who apparently was Justice Kern. Yesterday was Justice Gonzalez. Some people might be rubbing their eyes and ears and saying, didn't the MeidasTouch and Legal AF just report on this yesterday? No. Every day, Donald Trump is trying in a different way to get a stay of his case. Yesterday was the stay that he was requesting that got denied by another emergency judge down in Manhattan at the First Department, in which he asked for a stay while he brought his appeal to try to move the trial from Manhattan to a different location because of the bad publicity, most of which he's generated himself. Because he can't keep his mouth shut and he's trying to benefit from his wrongful conduct and argue, I can't get a fair shake in Manhattan. I got denied yesterday. This one is about the gag order, which was rightly pointed out by the lawyers for the Manhattan DA's office, Matt Colangelo, in this very quick hearing. I'll tell you a little bit about how those hearings work, having participated in them before, in which he argued, that was 2 weeks ago, the gag order. Why are we here at the last minute right before trial on this? So the Article 78 proceeding, just to clear up some misconceptions, I did a hot take on it yesterday. It's a unique way to skirt the appeal rules It's generally something that you bring under the Consolidated Laws and Procedures of New York, the CPL. In criminal court, you usually bring it against a government agency or department to compel them to do something. You can't get a permit out of your land use department. You bring an Article 78 motion or something like that. Here, you can also bring it against a judge. So technically, it's Donald Trump versus the judge, which is why we headlined it with Trump sues judge to try to stop trial, because that's exactly what he was doing. And that you file with the Appellate Division, First Department, the court that you just outlined right there. In order, while that's pending, the Article 78, and before it's fully briefed and a full five justices of the Appellate Division hear his case, and they haven't been assigned yet, you also can ask for a companion stay of the case while that's being considered. And that is what Justice Kern, who apparently had the misfortune of being on duty this morning when she got the application, which we've showed pictures of the prior ones. This is Delhi counter justice in New York. Most people are saying, like, why can't we see a clearer version of the order? Because there is no electronic docket in New York, if you can believe it, in state court. And we have to like get people to get photocopies of triplicate copies and then send that around in a screenshot. That's what we're left with. But we do have a legitimate, authentic copy of the order that we feel good about reporting on. That comes out of, there it is there, that comes out of a very short emergency hearing where the judge's law clerk calls up everybody, Michelangelo for the Manhattan DA and Todd Blanche, the lawyer for Donald Trump, says, get your butts down here. The judge wants to see everybody at 10 a.m. in chambers. Usually it's done in chambers. And then you come down, you cram into a room with a court reporter, everybody kind of piles in and you make your arguments. And in order to get a stay, you've got to argue that you're going to be severely prejudiced and you are the due process rights, if you will, require a stay. The arguments, apparently, based on the reporting you just noted, Ben, were ridiculous. It's that I want to comment on somebody's social media. That's all extrajudicial conduct that Donald Trump wants to get away with. That has nothing to do with what happens inside the courtroom once the brown wood panel doors close. So this judge doesn't want to hear about, I want to be able to do a press conference and bash Stormy Daniels and call her horse face again. You should be, okay, well, how does that deal with the jury selection and the trial that's actually going on in a room? And none of the things that you pointed to. We want to go after Michael Cohen's social media. They will have Michael Cohen on the stand in cross-examination in our adversarial process. They will have Stormy Daniels, if she's called, on the stand to cross-examine her. And that's where you bring these issues in. Not, I want to be able to raise money and grift every day, 3 times a day before I enter the courtroom, at a lunch break, and at the end of the day, and the judge is being mean to me. That's not grounds for a stay. And of course, Justice Kern has been on the bench since 2017, said, no, I'm not staying that. And she has the full authority to do that. Now it's over. As you said, it's an interim denial. In other words, the full panel, once they're convened, and we'll see who the presiding judge is. It's usually Justice Renwick. They'll decide based on the filings whether they're going to grant a stay. It's unlikely. Trump has tried this in multiple cases, multiple times, New York Attorney General and Judge Merchan here, and he's failed every time to stop whatever proceeding was going on. That's why I want to give people, as you do, Ben, hope here, as we joke on the show, some optimism that this is going to fail. And he is not going to stop jury selection, nor during the trial is this 5-justice panel going to pull the plug on the trial and say, well, gag order issue, can't try case. It's barely reasonable that this is even an interlocutory appeal, meaning an appeal that happens before the end of the trial. But since it doesn't go to the heart of a fair and impartial jury trial process, that's all the Trump as a defendant is entitled to. That's all he's really entitled to. You know, his First Amendment rights are always cabined by the fact that he's a criminal defendant in a criminal justice system, federal or state. And that's what we're going to see. I mean, the appellate division, I know you and I took a little bit of a harsh tone or criticism of them for lowering the same appellate court for lowering the bond amount in the New York Attorney General case. But they know their way around criminal law, and they know their way around Merchan. And Merchan, I will tell you straight, is very well respected by his appellate court bosses. And I would fall out of this chair shocked if anything stops this trial, at least based on what's been filed to date. There's one last one we'll just leave as a little bit of a cliffhanger. There's still the quote unquote immunity issue, where Donald Trump argues some sort of immunity, or that we should wait to see what happens with the U.S. Supreme Court argument on the 25th of April and beyond to stop this trial. That's going to be a dead loser too. But he's got one more card up his sleeve that he's going to try to play, and you and I or Karen will end up reporting on it.
Yeah, I think the card he tries to play is, look, he's already been denied the presidential immunity motion to dismiss by Justice Merchan on the grounds of untimeliness. I think the next move that Donald Trump tries to play is a Hail Mary to the United States Supreme Court to try to block this trial. We'll see about that, but we will keep you posted every step of the way. Michael Popok, thanks for breaking it down. Everybody hit subscribe. We're on our way to 3 million subscribers here. We're going to be covering this trial every step of the way. Keep checking back at the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for more breaking news developments. Have a wonderful day.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.